Good morning, afternoon, evening, middle of the night, wherever you happen to be. My name is Jeff Rolka. This is Live Event 58. That's my radio voice. It's not quite as low as some, but it works just the same. This is the weekly live event that I do to take questions, chit-chat a little bit, just basically have some live interaction. Hello, Divis. Good morning, JC's Radiant Ray from Gloomy. It's no, there's never gloom in San Diego. San Diego is the land of eternal sunshine. Or not. I guess it's probably got that marine layer thing. Good morning, Jennifer. Hello. Hello to Deus. Yes, this is your live event. In that, this is the forum which I can answer your questions and say hello. Hey, it's Harvey. And all that kind of stuff. If you have chosen to subscribe, please... No. I got it all. Thank you if you have subscribed. If you have not yet, I hope that you will consider doing so now. Hello, Heidi. Hello, Monsieur Maubet. See you again. Well, yes, of course. It's Harvey. That's gonna totally derail my thought process every time I see that, which is fun. Thank you if you've chosen to subscribe. If you haven't yet, please consider doing so now. There's usually something else I say, but I don't remember what that is right now. Hello from Stuttgart, Jonathan. Hello, Holly. Hello, Heidi. Aaron. Hello. I used a couple of your warm-ups that I have saved for a gig on Friday. Very helpful. Thanks again, Johnny. Hey, awesome. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. Mandy, hello to you. And Super Aced, hello. That's the meh icon looks familiar, but I don't recall seeing the user ID. Welcome if this is your first time. Pro Audio Rev TV Giuseppe, welcome to you. Natasha, hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's a little gloomy out here, but it's the marine layer. So in the mornings it's a little bit cloudy, and then it burns off, and then it goes away. Jakob, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be Jacob. Please let me know if it's a hard J or a soft J, if you wouldn't mind, just so I can pronounce your user ID correctly. Hey, Jeff, how can you find the best warm-ups for you? I presume you mean for you, like not me. But, honestly, the answer is it's basically the same thing. Two things. If it's just a general practice and you're just working through your overall technical prowess, then I would say, making sure that you're working on thyroarytenoid dominant chest voice, alignment and endurance and airflow issues and things like that. And then also making a foray into your upper register if you are in that practice. If you're not, then maybe some exercises that are starting to do that if it's appropriate for your voice. If you are a performing artist, or you're just going to work on a song after you're done warming up, keeping in mind the warm-ups are really technical practices, and the warm-up can be, ideally, it's going to adhere to the range of the songs that you are singing and address any particular challenges that those songs may incorporate. So you can look at the challenges in the piece from a purely technical perspective, and then implement those practices into the repertoire you're singing. So, for example, let's say you have a song and it has a high note for you that's above the secondo passaggio, and it happens to be on an oo vowel. Well, then make sure that in your warm-up, you go to at least that range of that high note, and preferably a major second or a minor third higher than that, and you're using the vowel that's in the song that you're singing. And that's how I would choose my warm-ups. That's what we want to do to make sure that we would say, vocalizing to the range of the song, or vocalizing to the tessitura of the repertoire. You are warming up, practicing technical challenges that are in the song that you are singing. Unlikely source. Hello, Jeff. What physiological dynamics are in play when singing comes much easier while lying on my side? Since I can't haul a couch onto the stage, how can I replicate that when upright? That's a very interesting question. By all accounts, lying on your side should make it more difficult. But when this has occurred for someone, it's usually because they are made aware of the expansion of the body. So, you could try lying on your side on the couch, and then I don't have one. I'm not sure. I just moved, and I haven't located the TheraBands yet. But if you know what a TheraBand is, it's a latex or non-latex stretchy band. They use it in physiotherapy all the time. And you can wrap one of those around your chest, around the hard ribs, and then see if you can replicate that experience that you had while lying on the couch. If it works with a TheraBand, then practice paying attention to how it feels with a TheraBand, and then try it without, and keep on A, being those two things. And you could take this in stages. So go from the couch to the TheraBand, and then go back and forth, and then go from TheraBand to without TheraBand, and then back and forth, and then go without. And you may find that you keep on coming back to the TheraBand as a reminder. And FYI, if it's good enough for Laurie Anderson, I don't know why it's not good enough for you. I mean, Laurie Anderson hauls any manner of things onto a stage. And, you want a couch on stage? I think, you should take artistic license with that. Of course, then there's Rush, who had washing machines on stage. Hello, Trinity. Praise God. Hey, Jeff. Hey. Hello to you. Good morning, afternoon, evening, where you're maybe Jazz. Hello, Trinity. Curious, were you able to purchase the Bolt kit? Thank you, Trinity, so much for sending that. That was not the correct equipment. And I have learned a couple things. One, that it is nearly impossible to find equipment listings for the individual connectors, hardware on these instruments. And I've also learned by using the other bolt that the receiver bolt is stripped on the right-hand side of the lyre assembly where the pedals connect. So it's out of my hands at this point. I can't actually replace the bolt because it'll just strip it out again. And I've got phone calls into Piano Techs to come on out and do the repair. It's not just a matter of a stripped bolt any longer. It's a stripped bolt and receiver nut. Super Ace, yes, first time. Well, welcome to you. Welcome to you. I do want to give a shout to Trinity Preacher, though. I really, really appreciated the fact that you spent time looking up those assembly kits and all those things. It means a lot to me, and I really, truly appreciate it. It's sort of ancillary that in the end, I'm not going to be able to use those fixtures. But thank you. Today asks, how long will I start seeing results from tongue and larynx control exercises? It feels like I'm making everything worse. My swallowing muscles still engage. The exercises are a means by which to work on the problem, but you've got to monitor the issue and try to come to an awareness of what's occurring internally so that you can change it. For example, if you're sticking your tongue out and holding it, but it keeps on jerking back into your mouth, and you don't learn to keep it out by, and the fingers are meant to assist you, right? But they're to resist that impulse to draw the tongue back. Nothing will change. It's an awareness issue. The exercises help us build awareness that can help us create changes in how we use our voices. So it's a matter of observation, some teaching tools, and then manifesting those differences. So it's really hard to say. It's really hard to say how long it might take to make any adjustments in your vocal technique. I have seen people do remarkable things in periods of time that I did not think were possible. And then there are those that can take much, much longer to manifest similar changes or less. We each come to these awarenesses, I think, in our learnings in our own time. The benefits of a teacher are that they can suggest alternate methods. So if you search through the YouTube channel, you'll find that there are other ways to go about this. That video alone that you're thinking of has several different methods to work on it. The high range videos have other aspects of those techniques, but the thing would be to bring those techniques lower so that you're not trying to tackle tongue and larynx control at the same time that you're trying to tackle upper register practice. Hard J, Jacob, thank you very much for clarifying. Monsieur Maube, Jeff, it's been a few days since I sang. Oh, I lost you there. Since I sang, where are we? I was feeling a little bit of swelling after a long performance on Tuesday. Got any tips for getting my voice back into the regular singing again without damage? All the good stuff, like good hydration. Speaking, and particularly speaking on the phone, can be really, really hard on your voice. So if you can avoid that, that would be great. You have to be the judge of how much rest you need. If you need a little light vocalizing can help, like very, very, very gentle, just to kind of get a little blood flowing, which will assist in your recovery. Yeah, but good hydration, a little bit of rest, a little bit of light vocalizing, as long as there's no pain. If there's pain, then you should take vocal rest for sure, and then come back to it when you can vocalize without any irritation. Tadeus, what is endurance? Endurance is, and I would recommend you look it up on a dictionary in case my definition here, which will be brief, is inadequate. It's the ability to do something for an extended period of time. So, one would say, like, I can sing for 15 minutes and then my voice is shot. Well, that's not much endurance. I can sing for X number of hours and I'm still fine at the end of it. That's pretty good endurance. Haley Bissett. Hello, everyone. Happy singing. Hello to you, Haley. Bishy J Official. Dear Jeff, please can you name some tips for singing with maximum resonance in a live setting? That's a very interesting question. The difficult thing there is that if your monitoring situation is very high volume, like if you're using stage wedges, or worse still, if there's no monitors, then the tendency will be to push and put a lot of strain on your voice. Ironically enough, that will reduce the resonance in your voice because it will clamp down on the soft tissue in the oral cavity and is going to rob you. It will rob you of that lovely resonance. So first and foremost, you have to back off. You can't push. If you push, you are fighting against yourself. And the next thing that comes to mind immediately for resonance in a live setting, particularly with the use of a mic and even without, is to make sure that you have plenty of mask resonance or singer's formant appropriate to your genre. So, if you're singing popular music, that means that... Is this thing going low on me? No, I don't think so. It just feels like it. I'm going to arc it up just a little bit. I feel like I'm slouching, and that doesn't feel very good. We have to make sure that we've got enough mask resonance appropriate for genre. So, you should be able to hear the difference between with just a slight amount of change in the soft palate orientation to enhance the resonance. On a microphone, I could have been more extreme with the back way of it. Like I could sing really D nasal. But that sounds a bit ridiculous. It's kind of outside the realm of possibility. With sort of mid resonance. And then what I might use in a club to make sure that I'm really heard. That kind of resonance really helps us carry whether we're using a microphone or not. But you must not push. Sometimes that can be, that can come down to just believing that you are in the right. If it's too loud that you cannot hear yourself on stage, then you have to trust that you're doing it correctly, which is far from ideal. Like it's entirely outside the realm of the ideal or good scenarios. But all too frequently in club gigs, our monitoring is just horrible, and you just have to deal with it. Jennifer. Joan Bloomberg. Hello. I recently find I'm having tension somewhere, but it's not in the throat or vocal cords. I think it's in the chest. Any exercises to help? First and foremost, we want to identify what that is. I've begun to recommend this video again recently. It's called The Lean. and it's on the channel, and that may help you identify how you're holding on to muscle engagement, and that will inform how you deal with it. Without knowing what you're doing, it's hard to say. You may also find that you can identify it by holding your arms up over your head. You can also move around a little bit. So when you're singing, move some. Move around a little bit. You'll notice where you're holding on because you'll lock up. You can also it's very helpful to do this in front of a mirror. And when you notice your body stop moving, something is happening. You are holding on. Try to stay in motion through those lockups, and that can help you release any kind of tension that you're carrying in your body. It's very, very easy to accumulate tension in the neck and torso when we're singing, and we want to try to work through that as much as we can. That's very well observed. AJ121, hi, am I supposed to feel strain after doing the extended term warm-up? No. Thanks for your vids, by the way. Okay, you're very welcome. No, you should not feel... Well, I suppose it does depend on where you feel the strain. If you're feeling it in your throat and neck, absolutely not. That is not the point of that warm-up, and it's not really the point of the technique in my videos. So singing is meant to be sustainable. It should not hurt. It should not feel strained. There are times when we may choose to induce those things. That is a choice that we can make, and there are parameters within which we can do that and not damage our voices. If you are regularly feeling strain, you need to evaluate how you are going through the registration events. In other words, making the transition from cricothyroarytenoid dominant singing, chest voice, to cricothyroid dominant singing, head voice. If you are not doing that transition, I would direct you to the two videos that I did these last 2 weeks that talk about that and discuss the differences, and also the demonstration video, which was done a long time ago, and I really ought to do a new one of those, that talks about the usage of our voice and the pitfalls and some guidelines around the differences between singing through these transition points versus quote-unquote belting, which is to say maintaining thyroarytenoid dominant singing beyond its normal range. Greg, hey Jeff, I've been spending a lot of time singing while walking to and from work and was wondering if there's anything I should look out for to not build. Well, that's exactly it. If the problem with that is that we can unconsciously develop little bad habits that we are unaware of. Case in point, I was warming up this morning, and I need a little drink of water here. I was warming up this morning, and I like to move around when I'm warming up. You know, I wave my arms, I jump around, I move my body, I do all these different things to wake up my body and just kind of start to loosen up and all that kind of stuff. Well, today I was sweeping the floor while I was warming up, and I noticed that as I sang, I don't even know if you can see that, but I just started to smile ever so slightly. And while the cheeks lifting is cool, the corners of the mouth lifting, not so cool. There are times when we use that as a teaching tool, but unconsciously, not so much. We want to try to avoid those unconscious movements of outer musculature. So I stopped sweeping and just focused on my warm-up, give myself a little facial massage there to kind of draw a little attention to it and warm up my facial muscles. And that's the main thing about warming up when you're doing something else, when you are said to be distracted. The other side of that is, and this is a little bit on the silly side, but not really without its merits, is that I would be worried that you would walk into traffic or trip over something or fall into like a culvert or a ravine or something. I used to ride a motorcycle, and I one time was warming up because like when you're wearing earplugs inside a helmet, you're in this very isolated environment, and it can be really kind of nice. But I found that my attention was so far away from what I was doing, and on a motorcycle, that is a really, really fast ticket to the ER if you're lucky, right? And any longer I won't even vocalize in a car because I just lose track of everything else around me. My focus is so internal and so scanning of my body and what's going on. So, I know that may seem a little bit weird, but I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that something unconscious could occur while you're so internally focused. But that's my suggestion to you. Mandy, Jeff, could you give some tips for those of us who sing and play an instrument, especially one like the guitar, which rests against the body, arms moving, mobility is different, etc.? Yes. In fact, I was just working with someone on this last week. One of the things about the guitar is there are a lot of different depths of body. So like if you're playing a Telecaster, which has a reasonably narrow body, versus like a big old Gibson Hummingbird, which has a big deep body, the way it rests against your person can be very, very different. When I don't think I can show you behind the piano here, particularly with the microphone all over the place. But one of the things that I do when I'm playing guitar and singing is that the guitar shifts so that it's much more forward focusing. The neck is out here. Now, I'm not like a shredding guitar. Pardon me. I'm not a shredding guitar player. It's not even remotely close to what I do. And so the orientation of the instrument and my body, to me, for overall facility, doesn't make a huge bit of difference. I don't need to see the fretboard in order to do my left hand. I happen to be right-handed, so I fret with my left hand. I don't need to see it. So it's largely pointing almost forwards, and the body of the guitar is swung quite over to my side. This allows for more freedom of expansion laterally, but more importantly for me is that it also lets me orient my shoulders and back more upright so that I've got a much more upright posture. I don't tend to wrap myself around the instrument, which is a really big issue for guitar players. That for right-handed players, you watch that right shoulder curve around the top of the instrument to try to get the elbow and the wrist in front of the strings to strum it or pick it. Those are really, really big things to pay attention to. So I try to bring the instrument to my body rather than put my body to the instrument. And that would be the view from 35,000 feet, if you will. Get into your posture. Be upright and seated or stood up properly in a singing posture, and then put the instrument onto you. Like make the instrument fit to you rather than you fitting to it as much as you can. There are going to be compromises. But we do the best that we can. And what I've talked about having it over to my right-hand side, having the neck pointed more forward, those are the compromises that I have made. Your compromises may, in fact, be different. And they may change depending on the type of material you happen to be singing. If you are singing something that is vocally very challenging, then perhaps moving the instrument out of the way a little bit while you can still play it is appropriate. If it's very instrument heavy and not very taxing vocally, then the opposite may be true. If it's taxing on both, I would look for ways to minimize my effort while I was singing and then be able to move the guitar into a more appropriate position while I was playing and back, so being more flexible. Ultimately, I think flexibility is really, that's really where it's at. We want to be flexible. Ronaldo, hello everybody. Mr. Jeff, how do you approach putting lyrics in a vocal melody of a song you've written? Ooh, that's a very interesting question. Gosh, okay, so the thing is, in the songs that I have written, it has come in so many different ways. I look for, this is totally subjective, right? So this is not in any book or anything like that that I am aware of. But when I'm writing my own music, I look for what I call a nugget. And it's a little snippet of melody, a little snippet of lyrics, whether it makes sense or not, and some type of harmonization that goes along to it. Lately, I have been more melodically driven than I have been in the past. And I've seen this develop over this project that I'm currently in the middle of. I haven't talked about it a lot because I kind of keep these things a little bit to myself when my intentions are very strong around it. But I've been writing a song every day this entire year. So at this point, I've written like 160 some songs. A couple times I wrote two songs. I've only missed one day where I did not write a song, but then I got right back into it the next day. So fact is, I've actually written a lot more songs than if I'd only written one per day, but I did miss one day, which was a bummer. Anyway, I've been finding that I'm really, really enjoying allowing the lyric allowing the melody to evolve, and then whatever lyric comes to mind, I'll write down. And I don't worry about what I write initially lyric-wise. I let that be the part of the creative process, and then if I'm going to produce the song, if I'm going to do an actual recording of it, I mean, I record all the stuff I'm doing in my project, but when I'm going to record, like, pull this thing apart and put it back together in a studio setting, that's when I'll start to really try to look at what I'm saying in the song, what I want to say, and how the usage of those lyrics, the words match my mode of expression. So if you listen to like songwriters, like any songwriter that you really admire, will have their phrases, their metaphors, their visual concepts that you see over and over and over again in their music. Like for example, Bruce Springsteen often talks about the road. There's like lots of roads and cars in Bruce Springsteen songs. And of course there are always exceptions, right? But case in point, from a purely like, I've written all the music and then I put the lyrics to it. If you wanted to listen to something like that I did, Ronaldo, there is a song on the Atlantean called The Last Song. And I did that song like that. I had written all the music, all the melodies, all of the parts before I had lyrics to it. And then I went reading through some old lyrical stuff, just things that I had. And I found this snippet that I had written on it was like a blue receipt that I had stuck into a folder. And I found it, and the two went together really quite nicely. And so that's how it all worked out for that one. Mandy at Super Aced. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon to you. Divis, Jeff, I really need your guidebook, but I don't know which payment method will work for me in my country. I know, we've been talking about that. And we'll have to, I would say let's keep on talking about that via email, but we'll figure it out. Whoa, I'm getting way behind. Giuseppe, Jeff, please, can you talk about ear for singer and which way we can become more and more accurate with the pitch? Is a chromatic tuner a good item to use? Okay, Giuseppe, yes and no. I mean, the thing with chromatic tuners is that they adhere to perfect intonation. So it's every pitch is exactly where it ought to be. When you sing with the piano is said to be well tempered. So it is inherently out of tune in a piano that has just been tuned. If you play a major third, you will hear that it wavers. Okay, and those wavers are discrepancies in the overtone series in the way that it all stacks up. Perfect fifths, they sound like they kind of turn over time. I can't show you. I can try. See, this piano it needs to be tuned, but you can hear it where it turns over on itself. Even octaves will do that because they are stretched in just intonation. So you can't really rely on a chromatic tuner. The best way to train your ear is to do your solfege. Singing longer sustained figures, listening for discrepancies can help quite a lot. But for the vocalist, this can also be very counterproductive, because if we start to tense up trying to sing in tune, we will only make matters worse. So focus on airflow, focus on the alignment of your vowels, focus on any sensations you feel in the neck, throat, tongue, oral cavity, trying to release as much engagement, trying to release those muscles so that you can let your voice do what it does best. In other words, the action items here are airflow and the alignment of the vowels. Listen for the alignment of the vowels. Be mindful of your expansion and engagement for airflow, and intonation will happen quite naturally. You can train your ears using solfege to hear intervallic intervals and scale patterns much more effectively, and that will in turn help you sing in tune as well. MNB, hi, I love your videos. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. With love from India. Hello, Vishak. Thank you for joining us. Mrs. Webster, today's question: how do you use dissonant choices in the music? For example, there are very odd notes in Lord of the Rings to suggest sinister tones. Sesame Street is anything but. Trying arranging. Yes, that's a really, really cool question. I think that over time we can develop flavors for dissonances. For example, one of my favorite things, I love the 4 chord with a major 7 in it. That's what you're putting, that's what you've got in a 4 chord with a major 7. But there's something about it that just sounds, I don't know, sort of pastoral or something. And it's pretty easy to throw the 9th in there as well, which, again, now, really, that's what I'm playing in that chord. Voicing will make a big difference in this, too. So you'll notice, I didn't stack all 3 of those together. I have the F down there, the E and the G here. If I put them all together, you get that. And that will give you a different vibe. Oops, I threw a B natural in there too, which is kind of nice, actually. Yeah. I don't know. I think that dissonance is something we develop a flavor for over time. I believe there was a Rossini book, or is it Rachmaninoff, wrote the sort of accepted classic treatises on arranging, and you might look into that. It's not terribly expensive on Amazon, like $20 or something like that, and that could really, really inform your decisions. My decisions are mostly based on what I like. If you are arranging with something in mind, then you'll need to figure out what it is they want or what's appropriate for the genre, and then stick to those things within a reasonable degree, I would say. What chords use tension and which bring the resolve? Well, that depends. Usually it's going to be like the 5 chord. And the 1 chord. 1 chords, that's your resolution. To a lesser degree is the 6 chord. So-called deceptive cadence. It has a certain amount of rest, but it's not home bass. That's home bass. in that key. Skylar, I narrate audiobooks and I found out that I have a slight slur from time to time on which words that start with S, specifically the word slope, for example. What exercises should I focus more on? I don't know if I've really done a lot of exercises on diction. I don't know that I have, in fact. There is an exercise that does all the articulators, the all that sort of stuff. I think that was live event 17, but it's also in the daily warm-up, though in a somewhat condensed manner. Though that's a really, really good exercise for articulators and the S's. Also, the videos on lyrics, there's a lyrical singing playlist. Those videos contain phrases. So they have lyrical phrases that then I've used some exercises with. And those can be really, really good in helping you focus on going from vowel to vowel and not putting too much pressure on the consonants. That would be a starting point, would be what I would check for. Trinity, thankful that you're almost at resolving it. My pleasure to serve. All for the glory of God in heaven. Thank you, Trinity. I really appreciate that. Giuseppe, second question. Is it a good thing to insert a vocal fry exercises in daily routine? For example, do a couple of minutes of vocal fry before and after the routine. I wouldn't recommend that. Vocal fry is a hyperglottic way of singing. In other words, you are inducing vocal fold engagement. And the only times that I would suggest having that as part of your regular routine, well, I wouldn't, quite frankly. It's not... Vocal fry is a nice effect from time to time. If you can control it and you can use it when you wish and you can eliminate it when you don't need it, which is to say most of the time, then I'd say we're cool. If there's a specific phrase that you need it for, then it's worth practicing it. But I would be very, very careful with that, simply because I would not want you to induce too much vocal fatigue, nor risk any kinds of irritation or something like that. And worse than all that is creating bad habits around it. Frankie C., I have a question about contraltos. My teachers seem to concentrate on getting me higher and higher. I'm training for musical theater. My thin folds are weak. We skip down. My problem is that my teacher wants me to tilt my larynx to go into my higher range. I find it better if I drop my larynx. I've seen me talk about something, dropping the larynx in one of your videos. Do you have any input? Yes. Actually, I just did a video this past week. That talks about laryngeal tilt. And your teacher may or may not agree with me on this. It's my understanding of it. When we go, okay, so you only have one set of vocal folds. There aren't multiple sets in there. It's how we use them that is different. When you go from thyroarytenoid dominant singing, it is one set of muscles that are the primary actors on the vocal fold, and that's your chest voice. When you ascend beyond the so-called break, which is called the secondo passaggio, some others call it, like they have these other classifications like M1, M2, M3 voice, or what else have I heard it called? Someone said like lifting through it, or I don't know, something else. Basically, we're all talking about the same thing, okay? What happens when you sing beyond the secondo passaggio, past the break, which I don't like that as a word, but there you go, past the break. The posterior and anterior cricothyroid muscles engage, and they elongate the vocal fold. They tilt the hyoid cartilage forward, and this is what acts on the vocal fold to elongate it. So that laryngeal tilt is the action of the cricothyroid muscles, posterior and anterior, because they're on both ends of the vocal fold, getting engaged and moving that hyoid cartilage and elongating the vocal fold. This releases some of the tension of the thyroarytenoid muscles, but increases the tension along the vocal fold. This is what gives you that seamless transition into an upper register. It has to be cultivated. Your teacher is asking you to do something which is fundamentally correct. The lowering of the larynx, it's very cool that you notice that. The lowering of the larynx allows for greater airflow across the vocal fold. That is essential, though this is an arguable point as well, though I would quote numerous sources to substantiate my claim here. And as I'm fond of saying in this, just don't take my word for it. Go and do your research on it as well and see if you come to the same conclusions. The larynx primarily is responsible for airflow over the vocal fold. It does not control pitch directly, the height of it. So by keeping it in a neutral or lowered position, this enables greater airflow over the vocal fold. That allows for the flexibility to release the tension around the thyroarytenoid dominant singing voice, those chest voice muscles that are directly underneath the vocal fold. Allows that tension to release so that the cricothyroids can elongate the vocal fold. If you don't have enough airflow, the thyroarytenoids will keep on trying to create higher and higher pitches for you. And the cricothyroids are relatively weak by comparison, to the cricothyroids. And they won't be able to elongate the vocal fold. This is sometimes referred to as throat lock. If you've ever heard someone talk about throat lock, it's because you're containing too much muscle engagement in the thyroarytenoid muscles, the chest voice muscles that are underneath the tissues of the vocal fold, the so-called cover, the outer surface area, which is also referred to as a ligament. That's an awful lot of anatomy and physiology. Basically, your teacher is asking you to do something which I agree with, and we do, unfortunately, singing teachers can get focused, can get obsessed with singing higher and higher. In your teacher's defense, that is like probably what 99.9% of all other vocalists are asking your teacher to teach them. So it can be kind of a knee-jerk response. I have done it in the past too, and been corrected summarily by some clients, and which I'm totally fine with. So there are a bunch of videos on the YouTube channel that talk about upper register, how to sing in your head voice. The videos from the last couple of weeks address these conceptually, and then I don't think unfortunately I didn't put a lot of links in there to the other videos, but if you search my YouTube channel for how to sing in head voice, how to sing over the break, then you will find the practice to make this work for your voice. Greg at Mrs. Webster. Trinity, I'm interested in a Skype lesson just so you can hear my voice and tell me exactly where my needs lie. Maybe a couple monthly. Absolutely, Trinity. I'd love to. We're in touch via Gmail, so let's work out all the details there. Greg at Mrs. Jacob. No problem. Also, one more question. Can someone take hours warming up? Yes, but if it's taken you that long, there are probably other issues at play that need addressing. So when you're warming up, try to focus on your body. See what's going on. Watch your posture. Get in front of a mirror. Listen to the alignment of your vowels. Try to notice if things aren't fitting. And those kinds of the observations that you see around that will inform where your inefficiencies are in your warm-up. Pardon me. I'm like so burpy this morning. I don't know what's going on. Jennifer, what are some things one can do when you think you're plateauing to start making progress again? That's a very interesting question. I would pick something that you think is entirely out. If you think that you're okay with this, so it really differs with the vocalist, with the person. This is totally sagging on me. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm just standing upright. I'm always really conscious the gaskets on these stands will strip out if you over tighten them too much, and they're a real faff to change. So I never want to over tighten. You never want to over tighten a mic stand. That's your uber quick tip for today. Jennifer, if you think that you could be cool with this, pick something that is just so absurdly outside what you think you are capable of and start to pick it apart. And in so doing, you will find the things that you wish to work on, or that will make you that much more of an accomplished singer. Alternately, if it's stagecraft, you might just start doing as many performances as you can possibly manage. Get out to any and every open mic and record yourself and see what you think. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty much what I would do in a show. I could expound on it a little bit more, but I feel like I need to try to go a little quicker here today. I know those are big ticket kinds of concepts. However, I think that that's really what I would do. Just pick something that's like, I'll never sing that. Go and get it. Mandy, by the way, going back a few weeks, my GP said that yes, for some people, tummy issues can cause backache and general bodily discomfort and fatigue that could impact a singer's breath control. Nice. I mean, not nice that we have these things, because I'm forever getting like little tummy bugs around here. But how interesting. I'm really glad that you could see your GP, Mandy, and I'm assuming that it's fixed now, so I hope that's the case. Greg at Frankie. Jason's rating Ray at Vishek. Mandy Cummins, any tips for how to cough that you don't damage your vocal cords or your throat when you're sick? Oh dear. Oh man, there's just nothing good around that. That's one of my... Unfortunately, no, I really don't. I try to avoid coughing as much as I possibly can for any sustained period of time. The only thing that I can possibly offer is that if you feel like you're going to be coughing a lot, get cough medicine to try to keep it from coughing. Prevention in this realm is far, far more important than trying to get over it on the back end. So I don't like to take medications any more than I have to. I'm not I'm not weird about it. If I have a headache, I'll take a couple, ibuprofen or something like that. But I'm very conscious of taking medications, and I never want to overdo it. I would never want these things to lose their effectiveness for me, because you got a headache and you take a couple Ibu, it's really nice to feel that go away. So for me, it's really difficult. When I have a cough or a cold, I don't want to take the cough medicine because I know it's mostly just kind of hiding the symptoms. But when you take those things, if they can keep you from coughing, then your recovery post-cold will be much, much faster and much easier. So yeah, prevention. Frankie C. at Greg. Mrs. Webster, thanks at Greg. Scuba Diver 31. That sounds like a new user ID to me. Welcome if that is the case. I hope you're still here. I'm trying to expedite my answers here. What is the best song to use for a first ever vocal audition? It is for the show Annie. Looks like Holly has already chimed in at Scuba Diver. Scuba Diver, no, it's my first audition since I am taking a break from film school. Super aced. G2G. It's about 1 p.m. here, heading out for lunch. Oh, okay. So, no, wait, that's super aced. Holly at Scuba Diver, I don't have a specific song in mind, but one thing to always look for in audition for musical theater is to choose a song that shows off your range. Well, true. Wish you could stay longer, but when a firefighter has to go, I gotta go. Oh gosh, man. Wow. Well, okay. So Scuba Diver, I'm so sorry if I missed you. Hopefully that person knows that they can come back and watch this after the fact. I may have to see if I can find them and send them a quick note, because I don't recognize that user ID. The thing is for an audition, it's about showing off your absolute best. You want to put your absolute best foot forward, period. So hopefully something that you're very, very familiar with, that you've sung before, if possible, many times. But it also needs to adhere to the audition requirements for the musical that you're singing. So ideally, it would be something from Annie that you are really, really familiar with it. You've sung before, and I'm adjusting my mic again here. That you have just sung a bunch of times, really, really familiar with, and you can knock it out of the park. Failing that, follow the audition requirements, whatever they may be, know them meticulously, make sure that you adhere to them, and bring something that represents those, but is absolutely something that you are, that is absolutely in your wheelhouse. Auditions aren't the time to like try to stretch yourself beyond what you have done in the past. Like, if it needs to show off your range, that's fine. You don't have to pick something that goes to the furthest reaches of your range. Adhere to the range and the requirements of the audition. If you know the musical that you're auditioning for, such as Annie, then you can check the general range of your vocal types, your fosh in the musical. Find the ranges that are covered in those parts. Make sure that whatever it is you sing covers that range. So if you're doing a male tenor part and it goes to G4 and C3, sing something that satisfies those requirements. I'm sorry I missed you, Scuba Diver. Hopefully you'll come back and see this. Super Ace put a C:. Jody April May. Hi, Jeff. Been away for a bit. That comment about movement when singing. All for movement. Don't quite understand why ever people stay still. Seriously, my arm starts to float around. Like my arm just kind of lifts up of its own accord. I don't really know why. Wish I could stay longer. Fire. Trinity Preacher at Holly Emmerich. Scuba Diver 31 saying thank you. Not to me, but to you guys. Jennifer Joan Bloomberg at Greg. Fell off her bike. See? That's what I'm saying. See? Greg at me, there's not any danger. There's a sidewalk, the whole place to work. Yeah, but there can be cracks in the pavement. Holly Emmerich at Scuba Diver 31. David Walsh, would you consider doing a video on extending one's range? I have done. There are many on extending range on the channel. Is there something specific that you're looking for? Jody April May, watch Matt Bellamy of Muse on how to hold the guitar in relation to singing. Not a bad example. Cool. Love Muse. Super fun. Ross Mikhail, that's amazing. Mrs. Webster, kudos. Jeff, so proud of you on your Song of the Day project. High fives. Thank you. Jason's Rating Ray. Yes, at Jeff Rolka, it is amazing writing Song a Day. I have just started writing poems. Awesome. Watching the meter with a plan to turn them into songs. Brilliant. Brilliant. Natasha Jubaj. Jeff, that's a lot. Thanks so much for creative juices. My pleasure. Ronaldo, thank you, Maestro. Thank you. I'll listen to your body of work when I'll come to LA. Promise. Brilliant. Well, LA is here and waiting. I happen to be in Northern California. I'm up near San Francisco. But LA is super, super fun. I've always had a really good time when I've been to LA, and I hope you enjoy yourself. And feel free to come on up north. Holly Emmerich at Trinity. Just one reader. Yes, finally caught on live. Yeah, I thought that was a new user ID. These videos are amazing and extremely helpful. Brilliant. Welcome. Mrs. Webster, 9th sounds way pretty. Thank you for the brief demo. You're very welcome. Very helpful. We'll play with that later. We'll look for the book you mentioned. Yeah, and Mrs. Webster, I think you and I have been in email contact as well. If you can't find it, just send an email to me and I can... Wow, I have fallen way behind. No, I haven't. Okay. Send an email to me and I will... I can hook you up with a link to that. It's readily available. It might be a bit more than what is entirely necessary for what you're doing, but I don't know entirely what you're doing, so we'll see. Maddie Hendricks. Hey, Maddie. Hey, everybody. Hope you're all great. My recent practice sessions, I've been working on agility and have noticed the narrower vowels are harder to sing through my passaggio. Any tips? Yes, they would be. Again, Maddie, of course, you're in university, you're studying with your teacher. You need to ideally direct your question. I mean, I'm happy to answer it, but basically like balance the difference. Like think about what they're telling you and consider what I'm suggesting as well. I never want to contradict. Well, I mean, if I just whatever, take it for what it's worth. That's what I'll say. Take it for what it's worth. Even if it contradicts your teacher, just consider it. Do your own research. Consider what they're telling you too. Although I think, generally speaking, we've always been in consort. The narrower vowels as we approach the secondo passaggio need to widen ever slightly. And there are schools of thought that say that this isn't necessary. And if you listen to those vocalists, I would argue that they are in fact doing it, but they're only doing exactly what is required. And that's what I would suggest you do too. So E, we don't want to hear it widen. I don't want anybody to sing like that unless we're practicing in the initial stages of singing through the register event. I'll have vocalists do that to make sure that they're doing it correctly, that they have enough space to maintain good airflow. But as you get better at it, you only want as much as you need. And that is my recommendation. A gentle expansion of those vowels as you approach the secondo passaggio and a gentle narrowing as you descend. The converse of that is true too. If I were to widen as I ascend without narrowing upon my descent, you would hear it as I brought it down. And we don't want to hear it, okay? But that doesn't mean it's not there. JC's rating Ray and Maddie. Frankie C. Jeff, thanks for all that information. I'm thinking that maybe I should have either a lesson with you in Watford or on Skype. I think I understand you a bit more. Awesome. I'm no longer near Watford, but Skype is perfectly fine, and we can get in touch if you get in touch with me via the contact sheets at jeffrolka.com or voicelessonssf.com, then we can work it all out. I have fallen behind again. Goodness me. No, wait, I haven't. Why do I am so bad at scrolling. You're welcome, Giuseppe. Mrs. Webster at Jennifer Joan. Mrs. Webster, love it when your delivery makes me laugh. Thanks for being yourself, Jeff. We so enjoy your quirky personality. Thank you. I appreciate that. Mandy Cummins, I do try not to cough. Hate coughing. Yeah, I know. I'm with you. They do cause more trouble than they're worth. I do hydrate and try not to cough too much or too hard. My tummy bug is all gone. Now it's hay fever, really cold. I know, and that's really bad because that can be very pervasive for a while. Super Aced, where does a female E4 to A5 hit? I don't know. I mean, that range, in theory, any female vocalist could sing that range. It depends a bit on where your secondo passaggio is in all that. I mean, if that's all the range you have, then it just starts more questions. It's really irresponsible of me to start spouting foshes without quite a bit more information than that, honestly, because basically any female voice could do that. It would just mean that it would either be like an alto who's very adept at registration events, or it'd be a soprano who hasn't really developed their voice. Mrs. Webster at Scuba Diver. Natasha Joubert, is writing poems almost the same as writing songs? I mean, the lyrics? It depends. I mean, I think that's on a spectrum. You know, like Leonard Cohen's music is very poetic. Popular music of today, not terribly poetic. It's on a spectrum. There's an old saying in music that poems don't necessarily make good songs, and good songs don't necessarily make good poems. And the fact is that they're not. It's not necessarily so exclusive. You can write a poem that turns into a really lovely song, but you might also have a poem that just doesn't make a song at all, and vice versa. Hello, and I'm letting. Oh, Toma. Well, better late than never. You can always watch it after the fact because I am about to wrap this up. Mrs. Webster, that's an awesome. Thank you, Mrs. Webster, because I forgot again to even mention it. There is a Facebook group where, and I have been so bad this week about being on it. I haven't been on it at all because I've been just doing other things, and I'm so sorry. But the thing about it is that there's so many great people on it. You can always get some good feedback. You can always share some ideas and do all kinds of cool things. I got to plug my laptop in because it's about to lose its juice. Yeah, Sequencer on Facebook. If you need a link, Twitter is a good place to get it. Or comments, or get in touch via email via jeffrolka.com or voicelessons.sf, and I can send you a link to that. Everybody, this is so much fun. Toma, I'm so sorry that we're wrapping it up right now, but you can watch this because YouTube is going to publish it as soon as I sign off. Thank you so much. Found an awesome throat spray that fights infections. That's really cool. You're very welcome, Mandy. I hope that helps. Have a great week to you too, JC's Radiant Ray, at Heidi, at Toma, at everybody. Thank you so much. Super fun. Super cool. Do what makes your heart sing. Thank you. That is awesome, JC's Radiant Ray. Thanks, Jeff. Thank you, Mandy. Awesome session as always. I lean more to a soprano, but we don't have a lot of altos in our church choir, so I have to fit in alto? Okay, man. Don't strain to sing. Yeah, don't strain to sing. That's just, have a great week, Natasha. Super aced. Yeah, don't strain, okay? I hate to say this, but just you got to take care of your voice. Like, you're going to keep on singing, I hope, long after you've done something different from that choir, okay? So you manage your voice. You manage your effort first. You have to sing sustainably. That is what this is all about. We got to sing, and sing some more. And then after we're done singing, guess what we're going to do? We're going to sing some more. And then after that, I'm going to keep on singing. And then once I finish singing, I'm going to sing some more. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. This was awesome. I had so much fun with you today. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your questions. I'm feeling self-conscious about my mic today. I don't know why. Take really good care of your voices. Enjoy singing, and I will see you next week or in the comments or on Twitter or in Sequencer or something like that.